Long before pyramids rose in the jungles of the Mayans or the Incas carved cities into mountains, a forgotten people lived and vanished without a trace. No temples, no tales, just silence beneath the soil. Until now, in a shocking twist, ancient DNA has uncovered a group so genetically strange they don't fit anywhere on the known map of the Americas. Who were they? Where did they go? And why did history forget them? Welcome to Secrets Beyond Time. Today we dig into the ancient mystery that's rewriting American history. If you love unraveling mysteries hidden in the dirt, don't forget to subscribe. Let's rewind the clock way back. Around 20,000 years ago during the last ice age, much of North America was buried under massive glaciers. But up in the far northwest, a frozen land bridge called Beringia stretched between Siberia and Alaska. It was more than just icy real estate. It was the gateway to a whole new world. As the ice began to melt around 16,000 years ago, early humans from East Asia and Siberia made their move. They crossed Beringia and became the first known settlers of the Americas. These folks carried the genetic seeds of what would become Native American ancestry. By 13,000 years ago, these pioneering groups had spread across the continent. The Clovis culture, known for its deadly sharp spear points, left artifacts from Montana to Mexico. For a while, archaeologists thought this was the first chapter of the human story in the New World. But then came the footprints, 23,000 years old, in White Sands, New Mexico. Wait, what? That's earlier than Clovis. Suddenly the story got more complicated. And the DNA from Colombia? That's about to make it even wilder. High up in the Colombian Andes, 2,600 meters above sea level, lies a plateau called the Bogotá Altiplano. For years, archaeologists uncovered ancient tools and bones here, but recently, something far more groundbreaking emerged: ancient human DNA. In a study published in Science Advances, researchers analyzed the genomes of 21 ancient individuals spanning from 6,000 to 500 years ago. Their remains came from sites like Chequa and Tequendama, names that had once only whispered stories through stone tools and burial mounds. But now, their genes were doing the talking. And what a story they told. One group stood out, a population from 6,000 years ago that didn't match any known genetic group in the Americas. Not the Clovis-linked Anzic-1 child from Montana, not ancient South American tribes, not even modern indigenous populations. It was like finding a whole new chapter in a book you thought you'd already finished. This group, dubbed the Columbia 6000 BP lineage, might be one of the earliest and most isolated human groups in South America. So who were these ghostly ancestors, whose DNA doesn't match anyone else? Say hello to the Chequa people, hunter-gatherers who lived in the Bogotá Altiplano around 6,000 years ago. But genetically, they were total misfits. When scientists ran advanced genetic tests using tools with names like F3 statistics and QP wave, basically DNA detective gear, the results were stunning. The Chequa didn't fit into the major family trees of the Americas. They weren't related to the Clovis culture up north. They didn't share ancestry with ancient Peruvians or modern indigenous Colombians. They were, well, different. Think of human ancestry like a giant tree. Most groups are branches. The Chequa, they're like a rogue root system, early, separate, and mostly forgotten. Scientists call them a basal lineage, meaning they split off early in the story of people migrating into South America and somehow stayed genetically isolated. No blending, no mixing. Just this odd group tucked away in the highlands, living life while the rest of the continent changed around them. It's like discovering a secret cousin no one knew existed, who's been camping in the mountains for millennia. Living 2,600 meters above sea level isn't exactly a vacation. The air is thin, the nights are cold, and forget about ordering pizza. But the Chequa people made it work, and then some. Surrounded by grassy plains, wetlands, and jagged mountain peaks, these ancient Colombians thrived as hunter-gatherers. They likely hunted deer, caught fish from mountain rivers, and foraged for tubers, fruits, and wild plants. No farms, no pottery, and certainly no Instagram. just survival, grit, and a deep connection to the land. Their tools, stone blades, bone scrapers, were practical and portable. That suggests a nomadic lifestyle, moving with the seasons in search of food and shelter. Without pottery, they may have used woven baskets or animal hides to carry and store supplies. Primitive, yes, but efficient. Adapting to life at high altitude likely shaped their bodies, diets, and even their genes. And despite their simplicity, they carved out a life in one of the most challenging environments on the continent. The Andes didn't make it easy, but the Chekwa didn't back down. What happens when a group lives in isolation for thousands of years? Their DNA starts to tell a very different story. And in the case of the Chekwa people, it's one of surprising complexity. Among the ancient individuals studied, scientists found close family ties, siblings, cousins, maybe even uncle-nephew duos. This hints at tight-knit communities, likely no bigger than a few dozen people. Imagine a small band of survivors huddled together on a chilly plateau, sharing food, stories, and genes. Genetically, the men mostly carried a Y chromosome marker called haplogroup Q1b1a, common among Native Americans. But the women, their mitochondrial DNA was more diverse, including haplogroups B2, A2, and C1. That means mothers came from different maternal lines, suggesting occasional mixing or female mobility. And here's a surprise. Despite their small population, there wasn't much inbreeding. That's rare for isolated groups. The Chekwa somehow kept their gene pool fresh, even while tucked away in the Andes. Pretty clever for a group with no written language or wheels, huh? Then, around 2,000 years ago, poof, the Chekwa people vanish from the genetic record like a chapter torn from a book. In their place, a completely new population with DNA more closely linked to groups from Central America. These newcomers were part of the Herrera ceramic culture, and unlike the Chekwa, they brought agriculture, pottery, and possibly some very pushy expansion plans. Here's what's wild. There's no genetic mixing. None. It's as if the Chekwa disappeared overnight and the new group just moved in. Scientists used admixture and QP wave tools, think ancestry tests on steroids, and confirmed a total genetic replacement. So what happened? Climate change might have made life harder in the highlands. Farming and pottery could have given the Herrera an edge in food storage and survival. Or maybe disease played a role, as it has so many times in human history. But the real mystery, there's no sign of a struggle, no epic battle carved in stone, just silence. The Chekwa left quietly, genetically erased, like a whisper lost in the wind of the Andes. The Chekwa discovery throws a serious wrench into the old story of how the Americas were settled. For decades, scientists believed a single wave of migrants came in, spread out, and diversified. Neat, tidy, predictable. But the Chekwa? They didn't get the memo. Their existence points to multiple migration events, early branching lineages, and long periods of isolation. It suggests the human story in South America is more like a maze than a straight line. The Clovis First model, that's looking increasingly like a chapter, not the whole book. And the Bogotá Altiplano itself, once considered a simple rest stop on humanity's road south, is now emerging as a genetic crossroads, a place where different human journeys may have paused, split, or ended altogether. It's not just about one lost group. It's about rethinking everything we thought we knew about how, when, and who first made their mark on this continent. The Chekwa may be gone, but their mystery is just getting started. Could their descendants be hiding in modern indigenous groups of the Amazon or Central America? Did their genes quietly merge elsewhere, slipping under the radar of current studies? Scientists are already lining up new research using cutting-edge tools like single-cell DNA sequencing and isotopic analysis, which can reveal everything from diet to migration paths. There's also growing interest in other isolated highland populations. Could there be more basal lineages out there, waiting to rewrite history once again? One thing's clear, the story of the Americas is far from finished, and thanks to ancient DNA, we're finally hearing voices that have been silent for thousands of years. The Chekwa weren't absorbed, conquered, or mixed in. They vanished, genetically untouched and historically silent. Now, ancient DNA has pulled them back into the story. Their discovery rewrites what we thought we knew about the first Americans and reminds us there's still so much hidden beneath our feet. This is DNA Reveals Shocking Lost People of Ancient Americas. Like and comment your thoughts. We'd love to hear what you think.